I gather most of you probably think the worst of me, despite the fact that I spend time and energy trying to get through to your hard heads every single fucking day of my life. So here's a superficial internet video, from Portland. It's the secret roller disco stuff outside of the ICE facility. I saw Native Americans dancing outside of there the other day, online, mind you. I don't go down there and bother with this stupid fucking shit. And I saw a bunch of quote unquote patriots flying the wartime flag of the District of Columbia and pretending that Charlie Kirk wasn't a controlled opposition asset who supported Israel. No, really. This is the best we got. Here's the video, because this is really useful. And if you see the hat, that's the wartime flag of the District of Columbia on her head. So I wrote something, because I'm trying. You guys, I'm fucking trying. It'd be cool if this would stay where I put it, though. Jesus. All right, hold on. I'll just hold it. 1 second. As it reads, meanwhile, ICE still exists, the facility still stands, the dogs of the, it should say state, are still breathing. Instead, I got stater. That's fucking priceless. All of which assures that people will continue to be persecuted and things will only get worse. Now, I also want you to appreciate, since I just fucked up the spelling in there, superficial internet babies who use emojis and truncate their words and say, it be, will chime in and tell me they can't figure out what I was getting at. This is who we're surrounded by. Also, who do you think wrote emojis into free social media applications, which are social engineering platforms? Do you think it's for our benefit or to our detriment? And how many of you want to argue in favor of the entertainment? I mean, the divisive fucking propaganda. How many of you? You love your entertainment. All right. I said, dogs of the state is what it should say, still breathing, all of which assures that people will continue to be persecuted and things will only get worse. I live in this town and I'm surrounded by people who don't have the faintest clue what reflects reality, let alone the fact that history serves as a reminder. Nonviolent protesting will never remove a pile of shit if it was sitting in your living room, so to speak. You can't wish things away. You got to get up and fucking do something, is the point. And this is not what I'm referring to. This is the furthest thing from what I'm fucking referring to. I mean, it's like dancing next to the pile of shit, because that's what they're doing. Do you understand? You probably don't. Most people don't. Most people don't care. They don't really care. And they're not willing to walk the walk. Yeah, and I really want you to remember, or at least appreciate, I say remember because people should know these things, but history reflects that action, and typically speaking, something having to do with violence, is the only way anything has ever changed. Because you and I aren't far enough down the line. In other words, people will wax poetic about raising their vibration, but they don't realize that they're closer to being a dumb animal than what they're waxing poetic about. They're using their lowest aspect of their chakras. Before I keep reading, to prove that point, our masters spoon-fed us the DARPA internet and all these forms of communication to mislead you and manipulate you and sell you narratives in your feed. What do you see most people do? They react. They react. That's what you see people posting about constantly. Constantly. Which is why I record videos like this and I try to give you a cautionary tale and or disclaimer statements and or point out the fucking propaganda. I try to think for you. You don't see a lot of people doing this because most people are reacting. I imagine some of you would probably say, well, you're doing it too. I know it. You're doing it. See, you left a video on here and it has to do with some of this stuff, kind of. That's what happens. I hear people saying things like that often because they're not thinking about what I'm doing and what I just fucking said. They're reacting. Back to point. So I said nonviolent protesting and removing the pile of shit from your living room, blah, 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 so to speak. At least all of these yuppies videos went viral. I'm sure they're happy about that. I was downtown today and I noticed that yuppies who have money, pardon me, to throw away on posters, bastardized Shepard Fairey's already bastardized image of Obey. If you don't know what I'm talking about, Shepard Fairey is a talentless hack. You probably know some of his work. Do you remember the Hope campaign for Obama? One of the many stewards of the District of Columbia? Shepard Fairey crapped that out. He altered a couple colors and he knocked out a minimalist poster, and people raved about that. That's his big talking point. The other one is he took Andre the Giant and he took They Live, and he took the slogan Obey from They Live and an image of Andre the Giant, and he shit plastered, slap tags, stickers all over the place until people started talking about it. And that's why Shepard Fairey is, a name that some people know. He's a talentless fucking hack. So, these yuppies who have money to make posters knocked out the anti-fascist frog. No, really, that's the name of the handle online, but people call him the Portland Frog because they never looked up the account. So you got the frog, and it says obey at the bottom, and then it says never obey, I think, at the top, something like that. Always, don't obey, or something ridiculous. And they put it all over a building. Well, I won't tell you where, but yeah, it's downtown, at least one of the locations. I imagine there's probably more if these kids have money and time to do so. Either way. So I said, what I'm driving at is these kids are as clever as they are useful. But what do I know? I'm just trying to help you guys. And these kids are having a fucking dance party because people are being kidnapped, beaten, and or disappearing permanently. The bigger point that's not coming up, typically speaking, I did see a guy leave a video online today which illustrated another point, which is good, it's smart, it's relevant, it's logical, and I'll probably slap that in here because I think I pinched it. But what I was going to mention is homeless people and what you would think of as illegal, which is what's dressed up. And I keep saying this, hoping people will see the videos and think about them. Most people won't and or can't think for themselves. The homeless people, they're not signing W-2s. They're not technically working for the corporation officially, which is why they're in the crosshairs. And the same applies to people who work under the table, so to speak. In other words, they're not giving a third party money. That's why they're an issue. But they're not an issue. They're just an issue to the people who pull our strings that you and I work for. Because if you do sign a W-2, you and I do put bread on somebody else's table. And I've highlighted where some of that goes. Technically to the UK initially. And some of it gets redistributed to fucking Spain, of all places. There's more to that narrative, but that's all I've ever spoon-fed you guys online. And usually you don't hear much of that, if any of that. I mean, you don't usually hear it come up. Because people don't have a fucking clue. The other guy that I saw a video on TikTok, and I'm always shocked on TikTok when I see something that's not propaganda. And if I'm not mistaken, he's a Mexican fellow. Just so you guys know, too, my sister's Mexican. Just so you know. If you guys, have your thoughts about me. Go fuck yourself. But what he was saying is, how do you put this, too? Wait, I got another thought before I come back to that. I watched, Gary Oldman's Slow Horses. If you guys have seen it, I think it's pretty entertaining, but there's a lot of propaganda in there. Most programming, there's a lot of propaganda, and it's very divisive these days. The episode that was shit out today, it's the latest season, and I think it's episode 4. And it touches on illegals is one of the topics, and they're considered criminals. They're violent criminals. And it's repeated a couple times in the episode because it is fucking programming. It is propaganda. And that should fucking terrify you. With that in mind, I do know of illegals back in New Mexico who did assault somebody that I care for. It does happen. But I also know, and this is fucked, people who have signed a W-2 and work for the corporation, the trilateral city-states like myself, unfortunately, who also assaulted somebody else that I know. There's a lot of bad people out there, is my point. A lot of people working off their lowest aspect of their chakras, not using their frontal lobes. You know, they have, how do I say it wrong? Inhibitions? They don't have any. I think that's how I mean to say it, how it should be said. Yeah. Hopefully you're picking up what I'm putting down with that. Now, the guy that left a video on TikTok that did make sense, what he was complaining about is he was saying, yeah, so people are pissed off that the illegals are taking your money and doing this and they're doing that. All the while, and he didn't touch on this, but it's also relevant. How many sports figures do you know that make a ridiculous amount of money? How many quote unquote movie stars or musicians do you know that make a ridiculous amount of money? Because the word of the day is disparity. But you're not going to be spoon fed something like that in your feed that tells you, hey, you should band together and be mad about this. And that's when all the kids turn into angry villagers and put on their roller skates and buy expensive costumes and lights and dance in the streets, right? Because that will change things for the better. You with me? So the guy in the video, he essentially just alluded to, I think, if I'm not mistaken and memory serves me, and like I said, I'll splice it in here. I think he was just talking about presidents. You know, the low-level bullshit. The facemen of the corporation. Stewards of the District of Columbia, respectively. Obama was one of them, in case you don't realize that, when I mentioned Obama earlier. He fast-tracked the TPP, and he also renewed and extended the Patriot Act, which did away with more civil liberties. That's what Obama got up to, part of it. He also had more drone-related deaths than the Bush administration, both of them combined. Keep in mind, Obama was down the line, drones had advanced more, etc., so that should also factor in. Full transparency. All right, I'll slap in the other video, and what the fuck do I know? If you want to take a screenshot and you want to share my poorly edited whatever with people, you could. You could also reiterate this. I'm not going to be mad if you do, because you probably should, because it makes fucking sense. Unlike having an ostrich costume and wearing the wartime flag of the District of Columbia, which promotes the Hegelian dialectic, aka conquer and divide, blue versus red, you know, fascism, dividing the people. That's what's on her fucking hat. Does that make any sense? Fuck no. Well, I thought I'd add this. I wasn't going to add it to the video, but I'm pretty sure they blocked me because what I just said made sense. So I wrote, the gal technically, the yuppie who had money to throw away on the ostrich costume, happens to be wearing the wartime flag of the District of Columbia. What I'm saying is the gal is promoting the Hegelian dialectic in the video. Hegelian dialectic. In the video, it serves as a subliminal image. What this symbolizes is conquer and divide, blue versus red, the Hegelian dialectic. In other words, she's promoting fascism, dividing the people. How many of you picked up on that? And Instagram, LifeLog 2.0 wanted to notify me, and it says, sorry, the media you were viewing is no longer available. I highly doubt they deleted this. They had 93 shares, 1,014 people liked it. I don't know if I can click on it and see. Look, somebody blocked me. Feel free to reach out to these bastards and let them know that they're promoting censorship. What I just said tracks. It reflects reality. It holds water. It goes somewhere. It means something. You can use it as a fucking tool. And these kids are supposedly out there, supposedly doing the right thing. And they just turned a blind eye to what I took time and energy to relate. That should fucking disgust you. It disgusts me. Let's see if the other one did too. No, just that fucker so far. I like this jazz. I like that they do the secret roller skating thing. I'd be kind of sad if they blocked me on here, but I wouldn't be fucking surprised. But this shit's fucking deplorable. Sincerely. Another way to put it is, I've been at this a very long fucking time, and I should have fucking kids clamoring for what I waste my time and energy just relating to you. It flusters me, it bothers me, it pisses me off, but usually it makes me laugh in my off moments, or the downtime I have. Things are so fucking far gone, and people are so unbelievably uninvolved that it's not even funny, but they'll tell you that they are. They're going to go downtown and have a fucking party while people are being kidnapped, beaten, and who knows what. All right, now I'll slap in the other video. Fucking horse shit. There's a number of videos in here. I thought about recording rants too because they're absolute garbage by and large. But this guy does make sense. It's superficial, but he makes sense. Oh, I forgot. I'm going to have to read it too. You think an immigrant at the ER is stealing your money. Not the billionaires with 5 homes, 3 yachts, 2 private jets, and a golden toilet. So I didn't remember that as well as I should have. He does mention that, Jazz. And it's spot on. He said, congratulations, you're living proof that propaganda works. And he's absolutely right. Whoever knocked this out. I imagine it was him, but you never know. Let's see. Is it his account or is this somebody else? No, it's his account is what it looks like. At a blush, mind you. There are accounts that post other people's heads. Things like that. That does happen. Is he promoting propaganda here? Let's see.
Tell me a little bit about what brings you out here day after day and in a frog costume, no less.
Well, I come out here day in and day out since June because I am worried about my community. I am concerned with what is happening in my community and with what the Trump administration is enabling these ICE agents, these DHS agents, these federal agents to do to my...
It's the trilateral city-states, and it's in league with Israel. But kids like this don't understand that. You and I are being manipulated.
Community members day in and day out. And I don't want to see anybody treated inhumanely. And to see this happen to my community members, my friends, my family, my neighbors, it's unacceptable. So I'm out here protesting in a frog costume especially in a frog costume, just to show how ridiculous the notion that we are violent terrorists is. It's just to showcase how that narrative is wrong and does a lot more damage than good.
Tell me.
The initial concept, mind you, I wanted not to. I don't want to frown on, is what I'm trying to say. But a bunch of yuppies dancing around, it also turns it into a circus and makes them look like a bunch of fools. The fact that they don't know what they're talking about proves my point. The fact that they're truly not willing to do something to see that ICE is stopped also proves my point. Now keep in mind, if people were actually on board with fucking stopping this shit dead in its tracks, I would show up for that. But the problem is most people wouldn't. You with me? What the fuck do I know?